Hey everybody, what's happening? I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and you are on the lifeboat. Hold on 1 second. I'm afraid of a strike. It's a little loud in the background. That's all I need. That is all I need. I've got me a strike. Welcome to the boat. What do you think of the chapeau? If you've not seen this before, people, this really impressive hat, pom-pom. This very impressive hat. I made this while I was incarcerated. Hey, Mark, good to see you. It is a power hat. Ben, BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive. Ben gets it. Scott says, I dig that hat. It's a cute hat, to be sure. A traditional toque, says Nico. Toque is a uniquely Canadian thing. I've never heard that used anywhere else, but I remember the toque. It is kind of a cute hat. And I did this hat. This was I did this one my damn self and managed to smuggle it out. You're supposed to mail these things to the street as soon as you're done with it. You see, they're afraid that you'll use it as part of your escape plan. Because if you can get over the fence, right, with your cool hat, then all of a sudden you can instantly blend in. Because nothing says blend in like a toque with a couple of dangling balls on it, pink, purple, all those colors, and a big pom pom on the top. That's blending in right there. Hey, I am 4 months sober and clean today. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. John Allen, how good is that, huh? John, very impressive. 120 days, people. That's high stepping. Make no mistake, right? Tall cotton. Pretty impressed. Thank you, John. Keep it up, my man. I'm telling you, it just keeps getting better and better. I promise you that's the truth. It's hard in the beginning, right? I never want to tell everybody, hey, this stuff's going to be easy, right? It's not going to be easy. It's going to suck at times. And to be sure, you have to work through this. Sadly, it's just not going to come easy. Maybe that's not sad. Honestly. I mean, to have made it 120 days, John, that's a hell of an accomplishment, right? Not easy, but it's a hell of an accomplishment. Proud of you. I really am proud of you. Hello, Lisa from Jersey. How are you? And you know what? I saw a couple of you over on another channel. I'm very happy to see you here. I'm touched. I really am. I am touched. 8 days into my no alcohol journey. You know what? I'm about to scold old Tony. I'm kidding. I'm not. I'm not going to do anything like that. But I'm going to use you as an example. Tony says, I'm 8 days into my no alcohol journey. Doesn't sound like a lot. Oh, yes, it does. But it means the world to me. I'm feeling great. Tony, that is amazing. And you see in the chat, they get it, right? They absolutely get it. The chat gets it. Huh? Beautiful, man. I dig this. I really do. But make no mistake, man, that is a long time. You know the longest time, right? The longest time is your first 20 to 30 days. That's the longest time you're ever going to do in your sobriety. I have spent 8 years sober, right? 8 years, 6 months, and some change. I promise you, your 8 days are way more impressive to me right now. Okay, that's the hardest 8 days right there, my friend. That's the hardest 8 days. You're killing it. Keep doing what you're doing, right? Continue to rinse and repeat. I promise you, you got through 8 days, you figured out some stuff. Because 8 days is tough, man. Those first 8, you got through those first 8. You just have to rinse and repeat. And we'll be here to help you along the way. I promise. I promise. Hey, Brenda, what's afloat on this boat? Well, there'll be all kinds of fun stuff. Saturday night boat will be silly here tomorrow night, I promise. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. I love it. I really do. I love it. I got a lot of really cool feedback on the connection. In the last video we did, we talked about who belongs on the lifeboat. It is one of those things that we are very unique. We really are. We're a very unique channel. And often people say it's a sobriety channel. man, I wouldn't have gone to a sobriety channel. I wouldn't have. That just doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, right? It just does not sound like a whole lot of fun. Jesse J, welcome to Green. I love it. I love it. Chili Phil, that is huge. That is huge. And I'm glad you're here, my man. Let's be clear. Everybody belongs here. Make no mistake. Everybody belongs here. Providing you're not mean, we want you here. We really do. And I think it's getting out. The message is getting out. Yeah, Rebecca, we do. We all belong on the boat. And it's getting around. I like it. I really do. I like it. Connection's a very big deal. And boy, it's changed my freaking life. Tony, one day at a time, absolutely. I agree with the one day at a time. Sometimes it's a couple hours at a time. Keep it real. Sometimes it is a very, very short increment, and we just need to hold on. And sometimes we can't get through that. And that's when we reach out, right? A power greater than ourselves. It can be your God. It can also be two other sober people. I promise 3 sober people trying to get through a problem is a power far greater than one sober person trying to remain sober. I promise. You get a couple of sober people that can start to talk to you when you're in those moments of need. I promise you, if you think you're going to get lectured, you're not. If you think you're going to get judged, you're not. It's just not how people are, right? People who have gotten to that phase of sobriety, they're just going to talk to you, man. Kind of like what we're doing right now. But I've done this sometimes until the sun comes up, right? Make sure that we get through that 24-hour stretch. It is possible. Alan Ballantyne, I'm glad you're here, brother. I saw you early on, but I'm glad you're here. That's my ace deuce, folks. You guys are familiar with the ace deuce concept? That is my ace deuce. In the joint, they say you only got one of those, right? That's the guy that even if he's wrong, you're going to go fight for him. You know, very often with friends, you can go, you know what? Yeah, that's my friend, man, but he made a big mistake. Yeah, with your ace deuce, you just go, no, you go running in there, punches flying, and then you figure it all out later, right? You just assume that your friend is right. And then later on, when you find out he's not, you go, hey, bad form. Don't do that again. The ace deuce. And you know what? I got a lot of respect for Alan Ballantyne. Alan flew over here, right? If you've never made a flight of, say, 15 to 17 hours on an airplane, right? That is a really, really long time. And it takes an effect on you, right? You get some pretty rugged jet lag. And if you're a decent size guy, those bathrooms are not much of an option, right? For real. So flights get to be stressful for me. I remember flying to Australia multiple times before they made it so that I couldn't. But I remember being stressed out by those trips, and poor Alan got here, and I said, "All right, let's load up. We're driving to LA." It was a working vacation for the lifeboat, but Alan can road trip with the best of them. He can road trip with anybody in the U.S. Honestly, this is a skill you have to master if you're going to be. I'll tell you what, you want to see even more impressive is when you do this number right here, right now. This is the really impressive one. You got to keep the hands up, right? The hands have got to stay up, and then you do it. Now that's impressive. That is impressive. You know what? This is an option, right? This is an option, Lisa. There's a couple of different ways you could do it, right? They now sell sleepers, right? This is a thing now on airplanes. It was not back in the day, but now they have sleepers on airplanes where you can just sort of. Do you ever see Bruce Willis in that movie, The Fifth Element? Picture that. It's the same kind of thing, except they don't knock you out, but you do slide into a little kind of bed thing, and you got a little TV in there, and you got a window. It's just a cool little place to sleep, but. Before that, man, that flight's never booked. Honestly, it's never booked. So when I would fly over there, I would take one middle aisle and put all of the armrests up. And that's exactly what I would do, Lisa. I would sleep the entire way, lay down the whole way. Flying to Turkey to visit my sister sucked out loud. I want to tell you something. That's such a great expression. It is spooky. It is spooky. I'm pretty fond of Spanx my damn self. I'm not gonna lie to you. Air fatigue, mama don't fly. I don't blame you. I'm not a fan of I'm not a fan of flying. And not because I'm afraid of flying. I just hate the process. And I did far too much of it at a young time in my life when I really shouldn't have been doing it. I was doing a lot of it. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Lisa, you work for the airline? Lisa, my best friend. Lisa, my best friend. I used to play golf with a guy who was an airline pilot, right? And a terrible golfer, a really bad golfer. And he loved the sport. And we used to gamble. That was in the day we all gambled. It was kind of a thing. There was honestly like a little tour of rounders that would all get together and gamble pretty much every day. But this guy was constantly having to give me free round trip tickets. He would give me those little vouchers. Those days are over. This is a million years ago. Oh, you guys saw Mama Scoville. That's something you don't see every day, right? This is something you don't see every day. Mama was on Chase the Heat. She was. That's your next stop. Would love to thank her. Yes, she was on Chase the Heat. My ma has no desire whatsoever to ever get on YouTube, right? We joke about it all the time. But that was actually a really big deal. What she did, I'm not even kidding. That's one of the all-time coups right there for Johnny. And fortunately, he didn't burn her. That's kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? He could be a what's the word I'm looking for? Asshat. You know what I mean? He can be I mean, he's Johnny Scoville. When he says, honestly, it's not really that hot, like he's not lying. To him, it's really not that hot. But he has zero perspective in any way for what not really that hot means to normal folk, right? I am his brother. People all the time say to me, oh man, I don't know how the two of you eat things like that. I don't eat things like that. Have you ever seen the videos I do with him? Man, I hurt when I do that. You know, Johnny has that thing where he just looks like it's no problem. Like that burn isn't happening, right? But it most assuredly is happening with me. And the capsaicin cramps afterwards. I want to tell you something. Boy, oh boy, I had some cap cramps, courtesy of Alan Ballantyne. You know, you say to your homeboy before we go live, hey, if you want to eat some pods, I'll do 2 to your 1. Right? You know, I'm a Scoville. I'll do 2 to your 1. I figure, you know, you don't figure your homeboy's going to come out and be like, "Oh, how you doing? How you doing?" You know, like take a breath. And we were live. What are you going to say? Hey, whoa, slow down, man. You're hurting me. It was funny because after we got off the air, I had a text from Johnny that said, "Dude, what are you doing?" Dude, what are you doing? I really hurt, man. That one was bad. Those cap cramps went on for days. Yeah, next time it's 2 to 1. Yeah, except I'm eating the 1 and you're eating the 2. I did kind of make a deal with Alan. It was a bad idea though. Look, it's on me. I'm not blaming Alan. It was a really stupid idea on my part. But I kind of thought that the dude, I thought the dude might just eat 1. In fact, I kind of thought, or 2, right? But he was going at those things like they weren't super hots. They were super hots. I assure you, those peppers were hot as you want to be. He was just macking them back. Yeah, that was tough. And Hummingbird, I agree. Mamas tend to be rock stars. Mine, however, is really, really different. Can you imagine being the mother of me and my brother? Honestly, can you imagine knowing what you know, just knowing what you know about our pasts? Can you imagine? Hey, I have done Systroming 2.1. Please tell me you saw it. I've done Systroming 2.1. It was the worst thing that I've ever done in my life. That was the one where we left it outside in the desert for 3 weeks before we ate it. Can I chill you out regarding Discord? I think so. Honestly, I think I can do this, right? I think I can do this, and I'll tell you why. Here's what I want you to. I don't want you to ever do anything, right? I don't want you to ever do anything you don't want to do, and that's the truth with anybody. But here's what I'll tell you. I'm never going to encourage anybody to do anything that would freak me out, right? That I think that there's a danger in or that can put you in an environment that's going to bum you out, because it's my biggest fear. The people that have been on a boat a long time will tell you that I wrestled with this, man. I almost walked away from YouTube because of it. We talked about doing Discord a year before we did Discord, maybe longer than that. And the reason that I was willing to go forward now, because it hasn't changed. What happened is Cedar sat down and took the time to really explain to me, what this was going to mean. And it really is going to become something absolutely fantastic. Now, do not do it for me, but you can definitely go over, check it out. And if it's not your ballywick or you don't dig it, no harm, no foul, walk away, right? Evil twin sister, right? I can think of a couple of names that would be a real bummer. The good thing about the Facebook group is this. It is only people from the boat, right? It is a private group. So they do tend to be people that, we police it pretty good. And I really take protecting all of you guys pretty seriously. Sometimes it's a bummer. Because when you start something like this, if anybody gets hurt in the process, it just sucks. And it's a very difficult thing to not bum out about, and my kids took a lot of crap in the first couple of years of the boat because people are just cruel. Fortunately, my kids have grown up and they've also watched me for years doing this crap now, and my their uncle has been doing it for what, Calhoun, 7 or 8? How long's Johnny been doing it? 8 according to Calhoun, and he's probably the better one to ask than me because I was inside, right? Sweet tea, that's cool. Apparently I smile when I talk about my kids. My kids are pretty damn cool. I won the lottery. I'm not being funny. I won the lottery, especially with my daughter. I'm not saying that the way you think it means. What I mean by that is this. I was there with Calhoun. I mean, we were best buds. We hung out every single day until he was about 11. And I really felt like I was a very intimate part of that, and it shows. It really does. Especially people who watched him grow up. Everybody who knew us when he was a boy, the relationship between me and him was always something that people would trip on because I just had a very unique relationship with Spanky. We did spend a bunch of time together. We had a lot of fun. I would put his car seat in a little MG midget and just drive around for no other reason other than to drive around or to put him to sleep, which was another. If I just put him in the MG and drive around in circles, in about 8 to 10 minutes, Spanx would be sound asleep, and then I could just carry him inside and set him down. It was absolutely the best way to put a child to sleep. And MGs are a lot of fun to drive. We lived right on a golf course. And you know what? I'm going to sound like, oh man, it's so good that his kids are grown, because it sounds bad. But to be honest, every time it rained, I would put Spanky in the passenger seat of this car, and we would put on little, our little driving hats, and I would take him out and just slide that car around every damn corner in that neighborhood, because you don't have to drive fast to do it. I mean, you can do it at like 25 miles an hour. If you just punch there's no weight in them, right? So if you just punch the gas going around a corner in the rain, it would just sort of go this way and slide, and he would squeal with laughter. He thought it was the funniest thing in the whole world. And we did a lot of it. We really did. We did an awful lot of it. Hello, shipmates, says RM Blake. Well, it's good to have you here. Glad that you're here, my man. Truthfully. Did I see Donnie Cochran? Did I see the Chili Mancer in here? I haven't said hi to Donnie in a hot minute. Yeah. Chili Mancer, if you're here, hello, my brother. Good to see you. Started my channel back in 2012, but started what I do now in April of last year. I tell you what, a little different the second time around, Chili Phil. You know what? When you find what you're passionate about, right? This becomes something completely different. I've told the story so many times on the boat that I forget if you guys have heard this or not, but right in the beginning, when we first started to get a little bit of traction, right? When we first started to look like we might find a little bit of success in this, someone reached out to ask me some questions, and they said, "Can I pick your brain about starting a YouTube channel?" And I said, "Absolutely, you can." So when I get to the end of my little deal, and I said, what are you going to start the channel? Like, what do you want to do it about? Oh, I don't have any idea. I was like, I'm confused as hell. What does that mean? You know, you don't know what you want the show to be about? No, I just want to get one up and running. I was like, for what reason? You know, because I promise you, if you're doing this to make money, or you're doing this to get rich, or any of those things, it's not going to get you through times where you want to kill everybody, right? Where you want to do some larynx crushing, you know, bang some skulls against a wall. What's going to get you through those days is that the mission that you are trying to do with the channel gets you through that, you know, and that's a big deal. This got me through. There was a lot of times where I just, you know, and it brought me back after we walked away for that month or whatever it was. Kelly says, has a 68 MGB British Racing Green. So was ours. Had to sell it to put a new roof on my house. So sad. You know what? That is sad. The B is exactly like the Midget's, just a little bit bigger. So was the engine. Had a little bit more punch. The Midget had a 1200 and something cc. I know, sounds like a motorcycle, right? But it had a 1200 and something cc engine. Great little engine, though. Lots of fun. Prayers for Steve. I spoke with Steve earlier on the telephone, and I'll tell you what, man. Steve's a stud. And I mean that. I would say I loved him. I would say a lot of things, but I wouldn't say that if it wasn't true. He's a stud. He got on the phone with me today, and you know, he's raring to go. He'd like some work. He would like me to get some work for him on the boat. He wants to get to work. There's Steve. There you are, man. We love you, bud. We really do. Much love, my brother. And a lot of thoughts and prayers for you. Believe that. Lots of thoughts and prayers for you. And that's good, man. That's good. That stuff, lot of science, man. A lot of science to back up the fact that it does amazing things. And I don't care why it does. We won't argue about it here. But whatever it is that you believe, or whatever it is that you do it for my friend. Huh? Your mom had an Austin Healey. Do you remember the model? I'll tell you why. Because Austin Healey had a massively diverse, they had a lot of models. They really did a lot. MG, I don't think nearly had as many. Austin Healey had like two different classes. There was the Sprigget, right? The Sprite and Midget were like identical cars, right? It would be an Austin Healey Sprite, or it would be an MG Midget. You could swap parts out from one to the other. They were the exact same car. And then they had they had the little cars, but the larger versions of them, there were some really good size Healeys. They all looked exactly like that British, you know, the cool British sports car look that we all love, except they would have two color paint schemes. They had this cool thing that they do on the doors. Oh, Carmen Ghia is one of my favorite cars. I could do this forever, by the way. I really have a car fetish. I have a big, bad car fetish. So does my boy. Calhoun's got issues. He's got issues. He sends me pictures of cars, gets excited and says, check this out. But I dig that. You know, it's cool. The ones, I'm sorry, the ones are our way of saying thoughts and prayers, whatever that means for you. What was a sunbeam? A sunbeam was a sunbeam. It was made by it was not made by MG. It was not made by any of them. And as Spanx Calhoun can tell you, we had a sunbeam. I had the sexiest sunbeam you ever saw in your life. Though I had a red-bodied Alpine. The one you really want's the Tiger because it has a V8. But the cars are identical. The Alpine and the Tiger are identical. If you ever saw the show Get Smart, in the first season, that's what he drives. They changed it to a different car after the first season, but in the first season, he pulls up in a Sunbeam Tiger, which very often gets called the mini Cobra because it, for all intents and purposes, looks like an MG, but it's got a massive, massive engine in it. First car, good story. You guys are going to get a kick out of this story. So when the time came for me to get a car, my father had helped my older sister Scoville get a car, but she had graduated from college, which obviously I had not done, and I was being a bit of a bum. By this time in my life, I was not. I was a bum. I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to. So my father said, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to earn enough dough to buy your own car. I'm not going to help you. And I was appalled, right? Because I was one of those kids who thought that I was entitled and should get everything handed to me. Because that's way more fun than working for it. My father was having none of that. And he said, no, you're going to have to buy it. So I got a job and I worked like my life depended on it. And I worked a job that I made tips on. And I'll be damned if I did not save up enough money to go out and buy myself a car. I saved up. Are you ready? $850. I had $850 in cash. And to be really honest, I wanted to come in a little under budget because that was also my weed budget at that time. So I was hoping to pick up something in the $700 range. And my first car, paid for myself, I bought a Pontiac Phoenix. If you do not know the Pontiac Phoenix, I am sure that right now Calhoun is probably pulling it up and laughing hysterically at what his old man's first car was. I bought a Pontiac Phoenix. You want to talk about a grocery go-getter? This is not a vehicle you pick up a woman in, right? This is not date kind of vehicle. This puppy is a grocery go-getter and nothing else. And to make matters worse, it did not have a tape deck. There was no way to play music in this thing. It had an AM FM radio in it. That it did have. Yes, Sweet Liberty. It was a beater. It was kind of ugly. What it did have going for it, and the only thing it seemed to really have going for it was the fact that I owned it, right? So I buy this car and I've owned it 3 days, right? 3 or 4 days. And Sister Scoville is getting married to a man that, by the way, she's still married to, right? They've been married ever since. This was back in the 80s. So I was off smoking a joint before the wedding with my brother Johnny. We weren't doing what we were supposed to, and we were somewhere we weren't supposed to be. But a guy came around the corner and hit us head on. Now, on the bright side, I jammed on the brakes. He jammed on the brakes. He was in our lane. He looked up at the last second, jammed on the brakes. I was already trying to stop. So we knew it was coming. We braced. It was a pretty good collision. If you saw the car, it was ugly. However, we were safe. There was no, but the guy gets out of the car and there's a cop there in like 30 seconds. It was the most impressive thing you've ever seen. Instantly, there was a cop there. And the cop goes, I need to talk to both of you. And this genius is standing. The guy that hit my car is standing like this. And this is the sign that says 35 miles an hour, right? And he says to the cop, listen, I was going not 1 mile an hour over 50. He said, I promise you. He's like, I don't care what anybody says. He goes, so you were doing 50. He goes, yeah. He goes, turn around and tell me what that sign says. He says, speed limit 35 miles an hour. So he gives me his insurance card. No big deal, right? No big deal. We swap stuff. My car's totaled. There's nothing we can do about it. My dad says, hey, you saved money to get your first car. You did what you were supposed to. I didn't have that kind of insurance. All I had was liability. So my dad said, I'll help you get the next one. But you're going to get insurance from this guy, some kind of a settlement. Take that money and my money will get you a decent car. This dude, when I call the insurance company, this isn't insured. Yeah, he canceled that policy a long, long time ago. Now, the beautiful thing is, I lived in a very small part of the world. You know what I mean? Like, you're not blending into the city. It is a very, very small part of the earth. So the guy, I called him up because he had also put his phone number. I said, hey, man, what's up? You don't have an insurance card. You did that for the cops. That, there's nothing on there. He goes, hey, my stepdad owns a used car lot. Gives me the address. Papa Scoville and I drive over there, and they had a Plymouth Dodge Colt, right? Now, compared to a Pontiac Phoenix, a Plymouth Dodge Colt or Mitsubishi engine, really, but it was a Dodge Colt, which was a two-door hatchback and cooler than the other side of your pillow. I mean, for real, you want a car that's way cooler than the one I had? And it was, they had it listed at over $3,000 on this lot. Right? Keep in mind, I just wrecked an $800 car. And I end up with this really great car that I ended up putting more miles on than I've probably driven in all of my cars combined since. And I did all that in about 2 years. I'm exaggerating, but I put so many miles on this car, it was silly. I mean, I drove the wheels off this. Johnny was living in a town called Burlington, and I was living hours away. And I would go see him and then commute back home, and I would do it at the drop of a hat. Would have been an 85 Dodge Colt, and a 1985, I believe. Kelly Visor had a 78 Nova with a 308. Whoa. Wow. That is really cool. That really is cool. Pontiac Le Mans, you didn't have to be a car person. It took care of that for you. A Pontiac Le Mans, a 71 Le Mans. Well, that would turn you into a car person. For real. Your first car was a 74 Colt Canary Yellow. I'll be damned. I had the blue. It was actually kind of a unique blue. Not the Dodge blue that you always think of. It was a little bit darker than that. I was pretty darned impressed. I really was. And the best part was I had a job at a little local hotel, and my friends would come during the day, and I would throw them the keys, to my car. And the deal was they would go out and do whatever they were doing. I'm sure it was illegal. And then they would bring me back weed at work. So I wouldn't have to worry about trying to, they would just come by and be like, hey, I got a bag. Can I take your car? Absolutely. Knock yourself out. Fill it up. It kind of almost became a community car, in all honesty. Storming an internet out. We're sorry. We're going to miss you. Should we call it a night and just come back tomorrow? We'll do this. We'll do this all over again. Ben Turner. I love the BTO reference. You had a Dodge Colt, same era, like driving around in an Oregon. I mean, it was not a really. You had a Ford Granada or Grenade 77. It was horrible. That's kind of a horrible car, honestly. But if any of you have found, I don't know if Calhoun could found it or not, but the Pontiac Phoenix, Calhoun, if you can find that car, it is honestly one of the ugliest automobiles. You still have a 1971 Javelin? Stop it. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that made by American Motor Cars? Isn't that an AMC, the Javelin? That's actually a pretty rare car, right? You don't see a lot of Javelins. I think it's giving him the business. I can't see it actually. Yeah, Hondas were great. When Honda came out with the CRX, my family got on a CRX tear. My brother had at least one. My sister had probably three. I bought my sister's, and then about 5 years later, I bought two more. 68 horsepower. This is great. This is great. A 68 horsepower 1986 Dodge Colt. Now, by way of full disclosure, I did a little to help that out, right? Including sawing off the muffler right at the engine because those didn't make a whole lot of noise anyway. Yeah, there was no muffler on that after, and I didn't really saw it off. I broke it off trying to drive up a trail. I was not a very intelligent person as a kid. I'll be really honest with you. I was just plain stupid. In so much of what I did, I was just plain stupid. And I'm lucky to be alive. But when you watch Mama Scoville in a video with us, oh man, the stuff that Mama Scoville put up with. I mean, really, that's rough. You know, she if you have not seen the video that Johnny and I do where we drink the milk, that is such a snapshot of my poor mother's entire life being the mom of the Scovilles. I mean, here are the two of us, right? We're in our 50s, right? And I'm outside and I hurl with one of just the most unbelievable vomits you've ever seen. I mean, there is a really, really long awful sound. And I look up at the door and there's Mama Scoville. There's Mama Scoville just looking down, and my brother and I were there. I thought to myself, do you know how many times that happened? The Honda CRX, I tell you what, without a Honda CRX, Spanx Calhoun probably wouldn't be here either. That was the car I was driving when I met his mom. In fact, teaching his mom to drive that a stick shift, I think, was my first pickup line. May very, very well may have worked that one. I don't remember exactly, but that was early on. Subi, you had a 70 Roadrunner. He totaled it on the way back from LA on a drug run. That is tragic. It really is. I was taking a trip out to LA, cruising along in my Chevrolet, toking on a number and digging on the radio. Anybody? Come on, anybody? Somebody's gonna know what that was. Somebody's gonna know what that was. We just bought another T-Bird 56. I want to tell you something. People say 57, 56. I've had this conversation with my brother in the last couple of days. That's the T-Bird. I honestly would like to have a 56 T-Bird. I really would. I'd like to have it tuxedoed. I really love how that looks with the tuxedo package. I would want it completely dialed in. I would want it to look perfect. Yeah, I am a fan, to be sure. The 66 Ford Mustang Coupe, 4-wheel disc brakes, sweet little machine. Absolutely. I'm on a Mexican whoa radio. No, that's not the song. It was not Wall of Voodoo. Not a bad guess. Not a bad guess. But no. That's the one with the top off, right? My uncle taught me how to wax that. Yes, that's exactly right. The lyrics sound like the sequel to A Boy Named Sue. No, I love both A Boy Named Sue and the sequel to A Boy Named Sue. We had a Pinto cut the hump out of the back seat to fit a quarter keg. No shit. Rosemary, that's solid. That's solid. I can completely see doing that. I got a good story for you. We had a friend that his parents did not want him driving around because he was a degenerate. And I mean, he really was. This was a bad kid. So they had a Ford Falcon, but the Ford Falcon didn't have, it had no seats. There was nothing in it. They were driving. Yeah, my name is Sue. How do you do? We would drive around in that thing in wooden folding chairs. I am not woofing you. The floor of that Falcon was made out of plywood, and we would be in there in folding chairs driving down the road. You talk about safety. I assure you, the seat belts were not effective. I mean, they weren't there, but if they were, they would not have been effective. And we had actually, on more than one occasion, drove that thing to school. Yeah. The only good thing was you could play cards in it while driving, right? If you brought a small table and the driver sat just slightly off to the right, you could play poker while going 60 miles an hour. If you haven't done that, it's worth doing. Oh, you know what? Your 6-year-old granddaughters are over. You have our permission to blow me off and go have fun with your granddaughters. How cool is that? Man, that's awesome. Wow, look at this. Don't bring a 442 to Southern Ontario. There's a guy with a badge that collects everyone he sees. Bomber. 442 is another car that, especially the one that says 442, like right on the bottom, down by the bottom of the door. Oh man. Oh man. The Pacer. Do you know what makes me laugh about the Pacer? We got to put this up here. Because I think of the Pacer, right? And this is what I think of. More than any car in the world, right? More than any car in the world. This is the one that makes me think this person bought that car and they brought it home, right? And they went next door to their neighbor's house, right? And they were like, "Hey, Hal, you got to come over here and check this out, man. I bought a Pacer." I'm sorry, what is that? Chevy? No, it's American Motor Corporation or American Motor Car or whatever. AMC, the people that brought you the Pacer, the Gremlin, the Javelin. Now, I guess technically they also brought the what the heck was the name of that? Oh man, I can't believe I can't remember the name of that car. My brother had one. All-wheel drive, fast as a scalded dog. I cannot remember the name of that car. Came out in the late 80s. It was turbocharged, all-wheel drive. I remember the Matador too. The Eagle Talon. Booyah. Thank you, Ben. It was the Eagle Talon. They also brought you the Concorde, which looks like a bathtub, to be sure. It looks like a bathtub. And in order to put it in four-wheel drive, there's just this little thing on the dashboard that you slide back and forth. That was the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. I remember getting in there and looking at it and going, dude, it looks like that's how you turn on the air conditioning. Like this is how you put it into four-wheel drive. Are we talking old or ugly cars? Well, I can go either way on this Taekwondo. I think that last one kind of fit both bills, did it not? A maroon colored Pacer. The Bird. I'm familiar with that one too. Yeah, but the Pacer, I mean, to me, it looks like you should grow vegetables or something inside it. It doesn't look like a car, right? It looks like a freaking, terrarium. Or if you were to have one and really deck it out and put turtles inside it, you know what I mean? There's so much glass in the thing. Like maybe put a little dirt in it in your house, maybe have a little display and put some turtles inside it. I think that would be cool. You had a Chevy Chevette, and I did own a 1992 Eagle Talon TSI. So did Johnny, same year too. Johnny had one of those, Jen Miller. Now, the Chevy Chevette, the reason the Chevy Chevette is funny is because you could always say to your friends, I got a vet. Okay? I remember my friend, he passed away about a year ago. One of the first guys that I grew up with that he had a heart attack. One of the first guys I grew up with that, we came from a real small town. I told you how small my graduating class was in like my one-room schoolhouse. Right? I think there were 9 of us there or something, 9 or 10. And we grew up together. One kid moved, but the rest of us went through every grade together. And one of them died, but he called me on the phone and he goes, "Hey, yo, what's up, Holmes?" And I was like, "What's happening?" He goes, "I just got wheels." I said, "Did you? What'd you get?" Now, keep in mind, I'm driving my my Plymouth Dodge Colt, right? I said, "What did you get?" His name was Fred. And he said, "I got a Vet green." I said, "No, you didn't." He said, I did. I said, what year? 78, 77, something like that. I go, nice. He goes, yeah, 4-door. So we could put a couple of dudes in it. He's like, I'm on my way. And then he hangs up the phone. And as he did, I'm like, this was in the day of rotary phones, right? For if you're seeing this years down the road and they used to have these phones that it would go click, 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 click. And those clicking sounds were what told the device what number you were dialing. Absolutely bizarre, right? But he hung up the phone and I sat there like, what the hell did he just say? So he's got a 4-door vet. Yours was light blue. His was green, except for a small patch on it that was painted a different color. Oh, by the way, since this is just like sort of fallen into a story night, I'll give you one more, because that car I told you about, the Dodge Colt, I used to take it to Canada a lot. So I took it to a Rolling Stones concert. And this would have been Steel Wheels tour. If you guys remember the Steel Wheels tour. So this would have been like 87, 88, 89, somewhere in there, right? End of the 80s. I drive up there. I got about as liquored up as I had ever been in my life. And I couldn't find the bridge back to the United States. And I said to my co-pilot, I'm not stopping for another red light. I'm getting out of this country. Like, I was just loopy. Then I ran about 11 red lights. Fortunately, the cop was cool enough to say, follow me. I'm going to take you to the border, at which point you're going to go to the other side of it. And then you're never going to come back here. So we cut that deal. I agreed to never set foot on the lovely soil of, I didn't keep my word, but I did agree to it. And afterwards, we're driving back and we're into Vermont proper. And it's, I don't know, it was one of those below zero nights. And my co-pilot has the window down, right? And I'm dying. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I'm going to vomit. I drank too much, dude. He's like, I'm going to throw up. I'm like, well, do it on the floor and roll up that window. You know what I mean? For real. Like, we'll figure that out tomorrow. I can't drive down the road with the window down, right? Like, this would be the worst thing ever. He's like, no, I can't do that. His name was Chris. I said, Chris, I'm going to kill you if you don't roll up that window. He hurled out the window, and some of it got away. Some of it did not. So the following day, I'm outside, and in Vermont, if you're from the Northeast, you will know how ridiculous this is, but you can have a change in temperature of about 60 degrees over the course of a day. So the following day, it had to be in the 80s, and we're all out there in shorts, and I'm hosing off the hurl off the side of my car. It had frozen to the car, and the paint came off with it, right? So this whole big thing of hurl just fell off the side of the car onto the ground in the perfect shape of South America, right? I'm not woofing you. It is, spot on South America. And it's about this big, right? So for the remainder of the time I got the car, now it's shiny silver for about an hour and a half. I'm not kidding you. The first night that puppy didn't have paint on it, the following morning it was rust colored. I'm not joking. Like, it rusted overnight. So now I've got this blue car and I've got a brown shaped map of South America on the passenger's door. And the first 8 people who said to me, hey man, why do you have South America on your car? I would say, no, it's not South America. Chris and I were going to Canada. By the third person that asked me, I would go, I dig South America. You know what I mean? I've been giving a lot of thought to maybe going to Brazil as a new place to live. I don't know. There's a couple other places down there. I'm open, but yeah, I'm just kind of a South America guy. I prefer it to North America, right? Mind your own business. I'm just kind of that guy, but I'm not kidding you. It was perfectly South America. I don't think it helped the resale value much. I don't think it upped the resale value. Then again, there was a lot of things that happened to that poor vehicle. I've told the story about this is the car. When I told you the story about the Fix-A-Flat, this was the car that was missing that. It had the tire was so messed up that I was shooting in an entire can of Fix-A-Flat a week. I honestly could have bought 4 tires for the car with how much money I spent in Fix-A-Flat. And one of my friends said to me, man, you don't know how bad that tire is. He's like, if you feel the inside, not the outside where you can see. So I put my hand on the inside of the tire to feel it and shredded my hand on the metal belts, the steel belts that were on the inside of the tire were already worn half through. So it kind of just looked like, this unbelievable steel wool looking stuff hanging off the side of my car. It was awful. Absolutely awful. So yeah, that's there's my why did my car have South America on the passenger door? And this is people from my past. Honestly, this will be the story that someone goes, "Oh my God, I thought that was dude. I thought that was him." That's going to be the story. They'll be like, "I was there." There was a grip of my friends there when that thing fell off the side. There was probably 8 of us at Chris's house when it just fell off the side. I'm hosing it. Yeah, then it just fell off, and everybody just started laughing. Holy crap! It looks like South America. When I say it was perfectly in the shape of South America, there's no way to do it justice. Just how perfect it was in the shape of South America. I dig this. I really do. I dig this. Mischief Managed says the love and support I was shown this morning when I shared my unaliving thoughts blew my mind. Amazing, though, was that 2 people said I had helped them before. That was awesome. Much love to you all. This happens to me every single day, and I can't tell you people, right? I can't say to you, hey, Mischief Managed said you really helped her. Like, if you send me something in an email, unless you write in the email, go ahead and share this with the world. I'm not going to do that, right? Simply put, I'm not going to do that. But this is awesome. And trust me, this happens so much more than you know. This happens so much more than you know. That's real. Hold on. Settle down. I'm just getting hot. Thank you so much, Mischief Managed. I appreciate you. I really do. But I was pretty proud of the boat. But it's the boat, right? You guys prove on a daily basis that this is different than everything else. It is. Sorry, it really is. Did I see VT Kitten? Hey, VT Kitten, does this look familiar? You recognize this, VT Kitten? Huh? Kids in America have horrible geography. I was going to try to do that really hideous answer that the poor girl did in the Miss America pageant. You know what I'm talking about? The girl that was in the swimsuit issue so many times. She's actually just a beautiful person, like inside and out. She really is. But she gave one of the worst answers in the entire world. They asked him a question about geology, geography and maps, and it was really bad. It was really, really bad. Susie Q says, I am so geographically challenged, it's embarrassing. Kids in America have horrible geography. Identifying countries and what they look like is just sad. My daughter even thought Philly was a state. God help us all. I got another one for you. This is not a joke either. So one of the guys that I was in prison with. Now you can say to yourself, well, this is prison. And admittedly, you're not going to get a lot of super educated people in prison. It's Al's Fries is what it is. This is Al's Fries from Burlington, Vermont. It's an institution. It really is. Al's Fries is an institution. But I was in prison and I was with my friend Austin. You will meet him. Austin is going to be coming on the show because he's one of the only people that I did time with that I can bring on and ask some questions and tell some stories. But I was with Austin, and he said to me, I want you to go around the day room, and I want you to ask people how many Williston Road, South Burlington, Vermont. She knows. That's exactly right. How many states are there in the U.S.? Don't answer this question. Don't. Hear me? Don't. However, he said to me, if 4 people get it right, this was the over-under. There's 120 people in the room. Right? Holy hell. I lost. I knew. like the guys I hung out with, I was like, are you kidding? Every guy I hung out with is going to tell you 50. There are 50 states, right? Guaranteed. The guys I hang out with, right? And that's 4 of them, right? So I only need to find one more. I asked the 4 that I was homeboys with, and all of them except one said 50. One said 56. Now I got to go find among everybody else one more and then one more. Didn't work out. Ended up losing money to him. But that one blew my mind. That one blew my mind. Another one that you hear all the time is people say, how about New Mexico being a state? Do you know how many people do not think New Mexico is a state? I saw this written in a newspaper. They were talking about people who graduated college. People who graduated college. This would have been 2013. 80% of the college graduates that took this poll did not know New Mexico was a state. That's terrifying. Yeah, people don't know the 50 states. Well, you know what? We had a president once say 52. There is some confusion. We had a president like say 52 states. So there is some confusion because, you know, we do own some property, right? That isn't ours. That we don't count. Puerto Rico most assuredly is ours, right? And we've got Guam, and we've got, you know, where else? I believe we've got the Mariana side or whatever. There's Bikini Atoll. We nuked it, but we own it. 52 pickup. Yep. So we have territories, and we've got, Bye, Jen. Please be safe. Hated seeing the blue pop up on the Trivial Pursuit. Was it blue or green? Hold on. Let me consult. Let's see here. I stand corrected. You are absolutely right. It is blue. I don't know why I thought that was, see that? I'm slipping. I am absolutely slipping. There are TSA agents that think District of Columbia driver's licenses are from the country of Colombia. Once again, that's got to scare you a little bit. I grew up with a 48-star flag, says Miss Dragon. Talk about being confused. Yeah. It's we do have 50 states. I checked on this. We really do. But yeah, I mean, here's something else, people, and we can finish up with this one because we're going to be I'm doing a show right after this. We're going back to back, but we're going to be talking about prison. So this makes a good segue into the next thing we're talking about. Are you ready? How do you figure out how many prisons to build? How do you know how many prison cells you need, right? I mean, it's pretty damn convenient that we seem to have pretty close to the perfect number of cells for the number of people who end up getting incarcerated. It's sometimes we get a little bit of overcrowding, and they got to put 3 people, to a cell for a little while, or they put guys in the gym. There are things like that happen. However, they're pretty damn close to being spot on all of the time, right? All of the time. They are very, very close to just hitting it out of the park. How is that possible? The answer to that question is this. They check illiteracy rates in the 4th grade. They check illiteracy rates in the 4th grade. What percentage of young boys in the 4th grade can't yet read? Because we can figure out how many prison cells we need based on that. Does that break your heart? For real. Does that break your heart? That wasn't me, people. When I say I was given every gift you could get and screwed it off, I had no excuses. I didn't. I mean, I have a learning disability or whatever, but I had 0 excuses to wind up where I did and doing what I'm doing. But that is how the math is figured out. That is how we decide how many we need to build. I wish I was kidding. I wish I was kidding. But that is absolutely how we figure it out. So are you going to sit here and tell me that there isn't a really fat correlation between education and incarceration. We incarcerate people who are poorly educated. Crime is not something that the wildly educated normally get into. And if they do, it's because of drugs. 100 out of 100 times. Calamity and Mary Jane. Here's the good news. You're late, right? And that's kind of a bummer. Jennifer, it is gross. I agree with you. You're a little late, and that's kind of a bummer. In fact, I'm so bummed out. I'm going to shut this show down because of you. I'm kidding. We're right at the end of the show anyway, but we're going to fire this puppy back up. I promise you, it's going to take 5 minutes. We're just turning it around. The reason being, I don't want to make it a 3-hour video because they won't push it. You know what? You guys want me to just do it here? What do you think, Calhoun? Hey, Russ, you want to just pop on right here? What do you think, people? Will you be patient? Will you be patient with me if I pop over there real quick and give him an invite? What do you think, Calhoun? Could you send them an invite, or do I need to do that? Do you know how to do that? Okay, I'll do that. Hold 1 second. Calhoun, say hi to the.
Well, hello. He likes to do that. He likes to just call shots real quick and then just, woo, I'm out of here. He's pretty good at that. It's hard to get him to slow down sometimes. How is everyone tonight? Looks like we're just gonna... Oh, he's back. I can see him.
Calhoun, am I a YouTuber or what? Tell the truth. No, tell the truth. I popped on over there. It took me like, what, 5-10 seconds. Fired off a link. You would almost think I know what I'm doing. I got to be honest with you. I don't know what I'm doing. But while lonely and sad, you've come to the right place. We're not doing any lonely or sad tonight. Tonight, we're going to have some laughs, right? I'm bringing on a homeboy. And in the parlance of prison, this is what you call a solid wood, right? This is a guy that comes to the odds, got good paperwork, right? The wood is a designation because he's a white boy, right? That was a term that used to be derogatory, much like the black race said the N-word. We're taking it back, right? We're going to use it. Well, the whites inside refer to themselves as peckerwoods, and that is, you see a lot of tattoos. Like a really popular one is Peckerwood Pimp. Believe it or not, you see that one a lot, right? When Russ pops in, he can back me up on this. That is one of those tattoos that you see just entirely too often. In fact, we could do an entire show on prison tattoos because, believe it or not, they just continually recycle, right? I've been to a lot of yards, and it's all the same stuff. You know the song Mama Tried? I turned 21 in prison doing life without parole. Right? Mama tried, mama tried. That's another tattoo that a bunch of boys end up with is mama tried. Mama tried to raise me better. If someone got put in jail but has not even been processed yet, and it's been a week, what does that normally mean? Do you mean jail or prison, V? You're talking about your ex, or you're talking about somebody that just got arrested? If somebody just gets arrested, they have to habeas corpus. They have to let this person appear, right? And they have to appear within a certain period of time. I have no idea what he's talking about. Russ says it will not allow him in because we're using Facebook. You got any idea what he's talking about? There's no Facebook on this, man. I don't use Facebook. Do you mean because I'm using StreamYard? Because I use StreamYard every single time we do this. All right. Head out and come back and try it again. People, I may have to start a new one. That's a bit of a bummer, but I might have to do it. Tell you what, Calhoun, do me a favor and talk to him real quick. All right?
All right. It's me again. Thought I was leaving, didn't you? I totally have things to say to you guys. I'm not drawing a blank at all. How did I get my name? That question was up here somewhere. Well, I'm pretty sure the Spanx part comes from getting spanked. And then Calhoun, my dad had a buddy growing up when I was growing up, and his nickname was Calhoun. And one day we slapped them together and called me Spanx Calhoun, I believe. My dad can tell the story better. He was more cognitive at the time. An additional appearance, yes. Yes. I get shy when things aren't how I want them to be. And as you can see behind me, there's just carnage back there. So, yeah, I'm a little reluctant to get on the camera these days. But, clean my room and I won't have such an issue with that. And the hike was good. Yeah. Got food from the grocery store. So what was the hike, what the hike was all about. You dig the carnage. Well, it's not that bad, I guess. It could be way worse. Getting ready to move here. You know what I should do is just put all the stuff in the boxes and then stack the boxes, and it won't look so messy. I don't know what my dad's doing. I just saw Russ pop in and then leave. No dad. Which is sweet. He's really feeling himself when he comes back and he's like, I'm a YouTuber.
You laughing at?
You.
I fired up a new stream. I can't get him in here. I'll just hang up on you, Calhoun. Let me tell you the mood I'm in. I'm playing with computers here. You know how much fun I have playing with computers? Where's Russ? Have we seen Russ?
He was in here. And then
visible?
He left. No, I mean he was visible to me.
Well, that doesn't help a lot.
Tell him to do whatever he did again.
Russ, come back in. If you can get in here, Russ, please get in here. Or one way or the other. I booked the other stream. If he comes in here, you're gonna go kill the other stream. If he doesn't, we're all moving. Right?
You want to know where he's at, dude? Right there.
There he is. There he is. Calhoun, kill that other stream for me, would you please? Can you do that? Right? I'm bragging. That always gets me far. Can you do that, Calhoun? Because that'll be a bummer. If not, you got it. That's the spirit. Russ, how you been?
What's up, brother?
Not too much. What's happening?
Nada. Just living life.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Like my chat is not on the side anymore. You know what, Russ? I feel like a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not playing. It's been an unusual run,
It has.
but it's I'm not complaining. I promise you, I'm not. I'm happy about it. But yeah, so we haven't had John in a while, man. How's life?
Oh, I've just been sick, trying to get well. I can't get over this. I can't get over that. But I think I finally beat it. So
you know what? A lot of people on the boat are currently experiencing whether it's the C+ math or it's a new but there's a lot of people talking about it. It's starting to bum me out. You know what I mean? The last time that this many people were talking about getting sick, this scares me. Just everybody be careful.
Right. I caught it. I think I caught it from my niece. So my brother and my nieces were all sick, and I made the mistake of going over there. So
yeah, that always a mistake. You know what? Kids are bulletproof. Do you remember when you were a little kid? You went to elementary school. You got exposed to every single sickness in the entire world.
Right.
And your immune system, I mean it. Like the immune system, when you were a kid, your immune system is just bulletproof. Now that I'm an old man, if I get around someone that's sick, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? It's a wrap.
Yep. It is.
So we got to talk about this because we haven't been here since. And there was a little bit of there was some talk about a guy from the inside who had written to the outside to tell people just how easy the time was in there.
Oh man.
And he would like to he wanted his voice to be heard. I was against giving a voice to a person with that particular kind of crime.
Right.
You were in the chat that day, weren't you? Were you freaked out?
My jaw dropped. I was
Yeah.
trying to let Aaron know, you can't do that. Doesn't matter who it is.
To his credit, I think he listens to the audience. I think the response from the audience on that was super, super overwhelming.
Right.
Which is probably a really good thing, you know.
Well, I contacted you the first second I saw it. You got to get a hold of him.
Right. That was
Yeah.
In fact, it wasn't over. Right in the middle of the deal, he was like, "Hey, man, you need to call your boy. Like, get him on the horn." Rip, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend.
There's
wow. Is that the first time, Rip, or is this a revisit of the math? You know what? How about this? I was in. Do you know that? When this pandemic hit, I was in.
You were?
Absolutely. I was in the feds when this hit. I got out after. I got out in the middle. I didn't get out after. I got out in the middle. But the prison was on, and I'm talking about from East Coast to West Coast. The entire BOP was on lockdown. And it's a rare occurrence. What you got to remember is this. The inmates run the institution. And what I mean by that is cooking, cleaning, right? Think about it. Every single, what else am I missing?
In there?
Everything that happened.
Or out there? Or inside?
No, in prison. Everything that happens in there is done by convicts.
Oh,
there are no employees doing anything. It's all it's all convicts. But it's when they stop working, when you lock down the entire prison system, every guard is now in the kitchen cooking. The guards are now doing every job that the inmates used to do. And you know what? I don't like it. It was a very tense time to be in the joint. Everybody in there was angry. The guys were angry. And I mean, locked down, Russ. They would let us out for an hour a day in shifts of 8 cells, right?
So
you had to have social distancing.
How did they do that though? It wasn't under discipline?
No discipline. Nobody there was in any trouble.
Wow.
They made a point to tell us that. We got a piece of paper from the feds that said, due to the danger of this, and by the way, there were 2 prisons that got decimated. There were 2 federal joints where C plus math got in and just started, wiping, convicts out. If it gets into your petri dish, you're in deep trouble. You know what I mean? Because you're in there. But fortunately, it never hit the yard I was on. But they were so vicious about distancing. You had to wear a mask. They wanted you were not allowed to remove the mask until you were standing inside the shower. Right.
Wow.
So you literally had to go in there and then hang the thing on the
outside,
on
the
hook, put it back. And there's never anybody in the deal next to you. Right. They would let you out just enough. So 4 guys would take 4 showers and 4 guys were allowed to use the computers, and it kept everybody 20 feet, 30 feet apart from one another.
God forbid you guys in the feds can't use your computers.
That computer only sends an email though. It's not like I'm hearing about these tablets. Yeah, we had cheap mail is what we had. That computer will not Google. It will not search. All that thing will do is allow you to send an email.
For some reason,
but that was beautiful.
Yeah, for some reason, I thought you had been in. You got out a while ago. I mean, even though that was not too long ago. I mean, it was long enough.
I was in there. I was in there when it's funny. I got put in the shoe for an investigation. I had not been in trouble for anything. I was sober. I hadn't done anything wrong in 5 years. Right. I was 5 years clean and sober inside prison. And they came and said, we're pulling you out for an investigation. And I said, what am I being investigated for? And they wouldn't tell me. But the first 2 weeks of the pandemic, I was in the shoe. So I wasn't getting newspapers, right? I had no access to a television set. I don't have my radio, right? So we don't have a clue what's going on. You know, in the shoe, there's absolutely no way to get any kind of information. And what happened is everybody that brought the food everybody's wearing masks all of a sudden, and they're all talking about how this is killing people. It was that was a frightening time to do time, man. It really was. But
go ahead. In the state, it was prison fever that used to was starting to kill everybody. So after that, I hadn't had anything to do with it. But nobody's ever told me, and I've talked to a couple of guys that, I had my buddy who just got out of doing life, but he never said anything about that. Never said anything like that, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know what they did in the state. I'm sure that every state joint, they would have to do whatever the governor. But in the feds, we were done, diddly done, and it got really, really bad. In order to make sure that they're trying to help folks, the best that they can do in terms of trying to make sure we were fed, they were bringing stuff in vans, right? And all we were getting was 3 cold meals a day.
Bologna sandwiches.
Three bologna sandwiches.
Cookies.
Bologna sandwiches 3 times a day.
A bag of chips.
3 times a day. Just in the beginning. It was so bad. It was so bad mid-pandemic that it was hard to believe. It literally was hard to believe what we were being fed, how we were being treated. Like it was horrific, and it was terrifying. Everybody was on edge. You're not talking to your people. We're not allowed to use the phones because God forbid, you talking to a receiver. They're like, no one's getting near a phone. So, I mean, we're writing letters. They do small stuff, free stamped envelopes. That was about all the concession we got. That's
all the toilet paper you need.
Yeah. And then the white boys filed suit because they wanted to be able to wear facial covers, basically that had hate on them.
Right.
And it was getting really ugly really quick. And the yard I was on was part of the lawsuit on that. So these guys are walking around with, Swazis and all kinds of crap on their face.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not. And it was just, everybody was on edge. It was a terrible time to be inside. I hated it.
It's not good enough. Yeah, it's not good enough. You have swastikas all over your forehead. You got to wear a mask now with them, bunch of idiots.
A bunch of idiots. And the sad thing is this wasn't that yard. Like you're at Victorville, and you're representing, and you're loud and proud. But at the custody level I was on, if you were a real hard banger, you weren't on that yard. You know what I mean? You would have got to that yard. You would have seen guys there with bad paperwork, and you would have smashed them.
Yeah.
Right. By good convicts standards, that's what I was supposed to do. But I hit that yard with, I think 180 days, 170 days, something like that. Trust and believe. I said to him, the guy's like, "You're going to cause trouble?" I said, "I'm going to lay down and I'm going to wake up when this is over." Sadly, I was there about that long before the C+ math hit.
Right.
Boy, oh boy, did it.
You walked out. You skated, huh?
I didn't get to do the fella stuff, like on the way out the door, you do your spread and you give away your stuff and all that. Nothing. We're on full lockdown, right? So with 8 days left, you have to leave your cell to go up to a new one. It was the stupidest crap in the whole world.
S-time or something like that. Yeah. Like they call it S-time in the state. You have 2 weeks before you get out. Yeah, you got to lay down.
And the funniest thing is the unit that they did that in was my unit. So I was like, why are you going to take me out of the place that I've been living for 6 months, right? To move me up the stairs. If I'm in the same unit, why can't I just stay here? I can't have that. And they tested us. Once you went to that room, we got tested every day, every single day. They came in and shoved that thing that was this long up your beak. Boy, oh boy. I'm telling you, the healthcare in there was the absolute worst. If you have any questions about prison, please put a couple of question marks or a couple of Q's. Let us know it's a question. You got one? Fire away.
I seen a couple that were going by. It's like from Dixie, I think. She wanted to know what the ramifications were, or Kathy. I'm not sure what the ramifications are on our buddy that's over there in Kern Valley right now.
Well, here's the deal with my understanding is he's still in intake, right? This is going to be
mine too.
At minimum 30 days, right? What are you looking at, fish tank? 30 days?
I would say 30 days.
That's usually standard.
Yeah. I mean, I was in probably 45. Yeah. Every time I went, it was close to 45.
Yeah.
So when I went there.
Think in the state, I think that was pretty close. They had it. We had like 2 phases. They had a phase A and B. And in A phase, you only got out 15 minutes every other day, never out of the cell for the entire month. That's it. And then when you hit the second phase, it was 15 days where you got out 4 hours a day. You either had a morning or you had a night, and it would alternate every other day. And that was where you started to, order your TV. So when you walked out of that place, you were ready to go. You had it. And you could go and live. Here's an interesting one for you. What percentage of white boys inside are claiming Irish heritage? Is that a part of it? No. They have adopted your 3-leaf clover, and that's about as far as that goes. It is not. Yeah.
A 4-leaf is your hit.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I know guys that were Irish that had Irish tattooed on their back, and it got covered.
Yeah.
Not unless you were severely tipped up. Yeah.
you really needed to be. It's I'll be honest. The white boys inside, as long as you hate, right? I mean, they weren't doing a whole lot of digging into people's heritage. Like there were guys that I watched tipped up that, I would look at my friend Austin, who again is a pretty sharp thinker, and Austin would look at me and go, do you think this guy really like Aryan? Like these guys have, dudes, 5'4", right? Like by the ideals you guys are preaching, you wouldn't have made it, right? They wouldn't have accepted you into the deal. Okay, Here we go. We got another one. I've been dying to ask if you ever met an old friend of yours who did about 15 total years, including Victorville. His name was Hunt, about 10 years older than you, from Maine. He just passed away. You know what? I would have to look back. I could look back through my journals because my brain has begun to fail. But there's a decent chance that, if he was in Victorville, there is definitely a chance. There we go. Do you listen to Jelly Roll's music? He just spoke to Congress about the fight against the drugs, particularly fentanyl. I thought he did a great job up there. I'll be honest. I don't listen. I'm old, man. You know what I mean? Like I really am. I'm old. I listen to oldie stations. Like I'm just an old man. I fight everything. I really do. So it's not that I dislike the dude. It's just that I had never heard of him. And when people first said Jelly Roll, I was like, oh yeah, there's an old black blues musician named Jelly Rolls. But I was way off the mark. Off the mark.
I used to listen to Tupac. Well, my cellie, who had the keys, loved Tupac and he loved Snoop Dogg. And when they first started coming out, he would blast it from our cell and nobody could say anything.
You know what? There was a decent amount of that. There was a hold on 1 second. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the question: did you all watch TV together or individually, and what were favorite prison shows? That's a great question. You know that, Kathy? That's a great question. What do you think?
Well, I never had to. I always had a TV in myself.
You had a TV in yourself.
Yeah.
So in state, that was absolutely an option.
Yeah. But we always had Jerry Springer on. And what else was it? Oh, wrestling. That was always big. Yeah.
Wrestling was big.
WCW.
So when I was in there, if you were going to watch television, you had to do it in the day room, unless you had a TV shot. If your cell happened to face the white boy TV, then you could have the opportunity to sit in your cell and watch TV, which is great, right? Yeah. Because if you're good, bad things are going to happen. They very often happen in the day room, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to put something either over your ears or in your ears to listen to the TV. Since there are 8 TVs up there, they can't have the volume up. So
Right.
we listen by tuning into a local radio station, right? That's how they broadcast. You know, the White Boy TV is on 90.1, right?
Mm.
So you're sitting there staring at a box and you can't hear. I've never been much for watching TV in prison. It scared the crap out of me, if you really want to know the truth.
Yeah.
But what they watched, that drag racing stuff, was a religion in there.
Oh
I've
yeah.
never seen. I mean, that stuff, they would watch that around the clock if they had the opportunity. And then there were always a couple of news channels that never ever got turned off, and ESPN was like that too. But
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, that drag racing or any cars restoration stuff, I think everyone was afraid to watch something that wouldn't be considered wicked manly. You know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of rom-coms being watched in there.
A bunch of drag race. You talk about that. You know, it's like the RuPaul and all them. You got
Yeah,
certain
I don't
people
think.
watching that.
Yeah, I would imagine they're watching that one in their cell.
Yeah.
Tipped up means to join a gang. Tipped up means to join a gang inside.
Or part of a gang. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. To become to join up or try to join up even, right? You're tipping up. The very often there's a probationary period that they don't call a probationary period. But during that period, you're gonna be putting work in.
Yeah.
Right? So in the feds, that was referred to as on the porch. I don't know what they how they referred to that in the state, but if you were on the porch, you were going to be entering this gang, but you owed them.
Yeah,
There
you
were
would be
some
on
things that you're going to need to do.
on deck. Or you'd be a torpedo. That'd be it. That's how you start getting your stripes, start earning your rank.
This is a good question too. Kristen asks, what is the general perception from the inmate's perspective of programs in prison, like getting your GED or psych, etc.? I have prepared myself for this answer.
It's cheaper to
what do you
get a
think?
college education in prison than it is anywhere.
I agree with you. It is absolutely, and I got my college degree inside. It's a lot easier to get a college degree inside than it would have been on the street, I promise you, right? But in the feds, the way we view the programs is that the programs are just a bunch of BS that they lie to people about on the street, right? And they pass laws saying that they're doing all these things, but we know they're not. And we would watch them show up and say, there's a tour coming through, right? So you better be on your A game when this tour comes through. So on that day, it tells you how many calories are in your burger. Like they got something up there on the food line that says, by the way, your burger has got 360 calories so that you can watch your weight. And they got a healthy portion deal. We're all like, what the hell is this? However, they might kick down, right? If we all pretend that this is really the way it is, when they leave, we get free stuff. If you decide not to, and you tell these people what's happening, I promise you, they're not going to treat you well when these people leave. So they're lies. I went to the special management unit and I read in the shoe before I went there where I was going, what they were going to be doing, the classes I was going to be taking, all of these lies. And I got there and there was nothing.
Man.
Just lies.
Well, I mean, in the feds, they offer you so much more than they do the state. They really do.
Yeah. Anik, in the well, they claim to, they're honestly in the feds, there were a couple of programs. Honestly, I couldn't find more than 2 or 3 programs that they were ever running in the feds. I mean, they had something called Fish, right? They had a program called Fish. And that was a program you could go. Then they had a work program, which that's Unicore. That's what I did, where you're actually going in there and you're working at a factory and you're getting a job. And in theory, they're teaching you something that you can take to the street, right? That's a program. And then there's RDAP, the drug programs. There's nothing else.
No.
I mean, there were ACE courses, but I was teaching ACE courses. At one point, I was teaching 4 of them.
Anger management?
I never taught anger management, but that, there were inmates teaching it. There were definitely inmates teaching it.
We had religious, anger management, drug courses, GED, and
welding?
was about
They
it.
do anything like that? No kind of trade stuff. I know
Well, they
some
did.
state stuff do.
If your level is low enough, yeah, you can do factory stuff, you know. But if your level's high, I'm 3 and 4, so they're not trusting me with a pencil. So
You know
you're gonna
what?
put a tool in my hand?
I talked to somebody that cares more than anyone you'll ever meet. They're trying to turn around prison systems. They really are.
Oh, yeah.
And they sent me an email and they were bragging about the great strides that they had made. And I know I sound like a jerk, but that was my response. I said, any of this trickling up to 3 and 4? Right?
Right.
When you come into prison, you can come in at a 4, right? It's going to be based on your crime. So I was already screwed when I walked through the door. There was nothing, there was no violence. I mean, I didn't hurt anybody, but they had what I did listed as a violent crime. So I got put with the people that were violent.
So you didn't get, there was no weapon, nothing, huh?
No, I didn't even use, there was no threat of a weapon. I didn't even threaten a weapon.
That would have been an enhancement on your crime, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. I would have done a lot more time. It was the reason that I didn't carry one. I know who he is. RM Blake. I have never met Michael, but I know who he is. And he says, did I miss something, Tommy? Why would watching TV scare you? One of the very first times that I went into the feds, the first time I went into a real yard at the feds, because when I first got there, I was in Phoenix. It was actually really kind of nice. It was not bad. It really wasn't so bad, but it changed quite a bit. When I got to the level, when I got to Victorville, the first day I was on that yard, somebody got cut. There was a guy watching television, and you got your earphones in, you're playing it as loud as you can. Some of them have headphones over the top of their ears.
Get them right there.
A guy walks by with a toothbrush that had a razor in it and just got him. Got him. And I don't want to not be able to hear what's going on in a room full of 180 convicts, right?
I like my back to the wall.
Yeah, I like my back to the wall. Rebecca, I hope I didn't disappoint you, hon. I hope I didn't. I don't know why you disappointed. I hope it wasn't me. But yeah, Anik, that is why. I'm not terribly afraid of television in general, but it was a little frightening on the inside.
The whole situation about watching television out in the day room is scary. If you if you choose to do that, yeah. Other than that, no.
I think you would have been good at it, Kristen. I really do. I think you would have been good at it. I met some people that truthfully cared, and they were always in that job, right? The counselors that worked in the drug programs, they were there because they wanted to be there. They were there because they honestly wanted to help and make a difference. That was my experience there. I didn't find that in a lot of other places within the prison, but it seems to be the case in drugs. This is a great question, man. Russ, you can start off on this one. Do you think prison should just be punitive? Should it just be about punishment, or should they be trying to rehabilitate? Because it seems it seems
come out.
Yeah.
Come out better criminals.
Just being better criminals. Yeah, go ahead. What do you think?
That's exactly what it is. I mean, you go there, and if you have all the, everything in line with your cases and all that stuff, and you've got the mindset, you just come out smarter how to break the law. But you never see a retired drug dealer. You never see a retired bank robber. You never see anybody who's in the criminal world retired.
Yeah,
they're all
the retirement home. Yeah, the retirement home is prison, right?
Yep.
And you'll hear guys our age crack jokes like that. Guys would come into the feds, and you'd be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And they're like, "I just wanted to come in and check out my my retirement. It's my 401k. I wanted to come here and check and see how this is working, because this is probably where I'll be spending the rest of my life." I couldn't plan that way. That would really be a bummer for me,
A third strike law in California scared a lot of people. They were giving people life for a bag of cookies or a piece of pizza, or, crimes that would blow your mind. But when they repealed that only for violent criminals or whatever, when they did it, they let go a lot of people that granted they were criminals, but come on. They shouldn't give a life for a candy bar.
No, there really were some incredible examples of that in the beginning, especially when it first came out, that 3-strike law. We saw some of the dumbest things in the entire world.
Yeah.
For real. Henny says, Tommy, question. Back in the day, I thought robbing banks carried a long prison term, like 20 years plus. I thought prison was to rehabilitate and punishment was secondary. Well, that would be a nice idea. But sadly, that's not really the way it works. No. Back in the day, robbing banks to this day still carries the same sentence, right? On the federal sentencing guideline sheets, it still starts out at a 21. And a 21 that's the level of offense, right? Going from a 1 to a 40 or a 48 or something. Yeah, so that's 21. It's about midway, but you throw a gun in on it, now you're up to 24, right? If you move those people around, now it's up to a 38, right? You just keep getting and adding to it. If I had been using a gun, if I had been yelling, all right, listen up, this is only going to take a minute, right? Okay, those are the people that get, 20 or more. And in terms of, this is what they claim. They claim that they arrest me to protect society from me so that I'm not out doing the things that I was doing. That's one. Then they got to punish me, right? That's two. They also have to rehabilitate me, and they want my punishment to be mean enough so that other people that think about robbing banks are going to go, geez, did you see what they did to Tommy? We're not doing that again. That, according to the feds, are the 4 things that they're out to do.
It's not working. It's not working.
They got the punishment trap down to a science, but they're not doing a whole lot of rehab.
Nope.
But, Russ came out rehabilitated, right? I came out rehabilitated, but you got to do it on your own. I just wish that when you got there on day one, they would come up to you and say, we're not going to give you a lick of help.
Exactly.
You're on your own, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that would be nice, because when you first get there, you think that there's going to be people ready to help.
Yeah. You think everybody's you're going to be able to get this and that. But, when I got out after doing that 10, I'm in the mentality of prison. If somebody bumps into me, does this, any kind of disrespect, I jump and I'll get violent quick. And I had to get myself out of that. So there's no help for you. There are counselors, drug counselors, and halfway houses that do help, but it's up to what's in here when you get out.
Crazy Brumfield says, is it because they're trying to be tough on crime? Here's what's happening. The politicians have to get elected, right? They have to get elected.
Yeah.
And if a criminal gets a 10-year sentence, gets out, and commits a crime that is well known, right? Then everybody blames it on the politicians, right? It's that terrifying moment. Willie Shoemaker, something like that. Yeah, it was way back in the 80s when Walter Mondale was running for president, right? He had pardoned somebody that got out and did something horrific. And every politician is worried about the exact same thing happening. So you hear them say all the time when they're running for office, we're going to lock them up and throw away the key.
Right.
We're going to lock them up and throw away the key. And
they do.
They absolutely do. But I think Russ can probably attest to this too. When you walk in the front door of the prison and you look around, 8 out of 10 people you see are getting out. Right? 8 out of 10 people you're looking at are going to get out.
Yep.
Sadly, they don't plan for that. They throw us in there, but you're right. It's the University of Crime. How many times have you seen a guy teaching somebody how to make meth in the chow hall or in the library? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Every day there's somebody spitting out the meth recipe.
Or a better meth recipe. Or whatever. Or which way to go to take the load of weed this way or whatever.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. They do all start talking about what crimes they committed. And bank robbery is a big one. I would get there and people would come instantly up, the other bank robbers. Hey man, were you hitting vaults? No, man, I wasn't hitting vaults. Right.
Yeah.
Were you getting 2 drawers? What were you doing? In the beginning, I used to talk to those guys. Toward the end, I would put on the I'm a really dumb guy thing. I'd be like, yeah, I walked in there and just told them I wanted 150 grand. It took so long for them to get it. The cops got me. You know what I mean? And then they just walk away. Like, I don't feel like
you're right.
It was Willie Horton. Idiot. Thank you. Thank you very much. Horton. Yes,
Horton. Okay, it was Dukakis. Okay.
Yeah, Dukakis was the one that did it. Yeah.
There's a lot of cases that happened also in California that did that, like the Paula Class thing,
Sure.
that little girl, that dude got minimal time. He got out. As soon as he got out, he unalived her, the little girl. So
yeah,
there's a lot that happened.
It's honestly, it's horrific. It really is.
Yeah.
That case, though, every politician in the world does not want that to happen on their watch. And they've got a bunch of people that are yelling, we need prison reform, but they're so afraid that they're going to let out the wrong person. So what they need to do, and most, like in the feds, they do this. When you hear people talking about they're going to be letting people get time off for doing this or time off for doing that, or they're going to, sex offenders get nothing. That's NC. They're not getting any of that in the feds. Nothing. They can't do the programs. They can do specific programs that are for them. The how to not be the world's biggest scumbag classes.
They don't, and you have to remember, I mean, there are predators anywhere you go. You will be got
everywhere you go.
Sensitive needs, whatever.
$8.7 billion annual budget for the Bureau of Prisons. Each inmate gets $1 worth of food a day. No rehab, no classes, no job training. What the heck does the money go to? Well, I'll tell you what it goes to. It goes to buying brand new equipment every year. Every year, right? And then that equipment is going to go off to an auction where your uncle works. Every once in a while, they bust people. But if they spend it on food, they sell the food out the back door to somebody else who goes and takes that legit stuff to his restaurant. And then we eat garbage. And I'm not being funny. This is such a scam. It's incredible. I busted my boss. I busted my boss in the feds, in the kitchen, scamming. Like, no joke. I went up to him and said, hey, bro, you're going to get caught. Like, you're going to get caught. I will tell you why you're going to get caught, but you're going to get caught. We were claiming that we were buying beef patties for burgers, right? But we were buying chicken. So there were, every single month, there were 3 days that we were supposed to be having beef that we were going to have chicken instead. And the difference is 7 cents a patty or 20 cents a patty. Well, boy, you start buying that puppy over the course of a year. How much are they grifting? You know what I mean?
Right.
And I said, boss, they seem to be ordering a lot more,
How come we're having chicken so much?
I'm not mad at you, but the first time you might have made a mistake. Now this is policy, right?
Yeah.
And you know what he did? He took me outside onto the loading dock and he gave me a new pimp. He took out a Taylor, handed it over, and lit that puppy up for me right on the loading dock. All of a sudden, I was one of the fellas. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff.
I'll tell you why, how they still get away with it. You think I was going to tell on them?
Yeah.
Well, I promise you that's not going to happen. Let's say Russ and I are doing time, right? And he's my cellmate and he's slinging ink and he's doing this and he's doing that. And I go downstairs to the cop and I'm like, hey man, my cellmate's breaking every rule in the book. Get up there and search that. Get up there and search that right now. Okay, if the word gets out that I'm a piece of crap and a rat, they can put me somewhere where the fellas may never know that happened. If I roll on a cop, where are they going to put me?
Nowhere.
Right? They ain't putting me anywhere where a cop isn't going to know that I rolled on a cop.
Yep. Derek Chauvin.
Yeah. Ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. No, if you knew how many times that there was something that was done to me where the cops lose their job, I mean, guaranteed. If they knew what they did to me, they lose their job. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I could think of 4 or 5 where a bunch of people would lose their jobs. Like I got worked over on Halloween night in the county jail. I mean, worked over with asps. Whole crew came in, tuned the hell out of me.
I remember it. I was at Corcoran during that whole betting scheme when guards were actually betting on fighting.
Betting on inmates.
I was there. And, there were people knew that you could fight and they would, do whatever they could to get you jacked up. And it was just a mess. And it took, a couple guys did rat.
Yeah.
couple. I mean, there were bunches of letters sent out, on the down low, and then some COs actually told on them. But yeah, a lot of guys got hurt over that. I mean, really hurt and killed. They were
really, I really remember that. Like,
yeah,
that was a big thing among the fellas. When the word got out of this, I knew so many cats that were like, "Oh yeah, it's been going on forever. It's been going on forever."
Yep.
They put me in a cage with a Puerto Rican dude at Lewisburg, and they knew what was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
The white dude and the Puerto Rican dude can't go in the same cage. But what they did is, as they were walking me up, they said to the guy first, "Hey, you cool to go in with him?" Now, if he says no, he's saying to all of his guys, "I'm afraid of this dude," right?
Mm-hmm.
So he can't say that. So as soon as he goes, "Oh yeah, I'll go in there with him," then they look at me, and these cops are grinning. They know the drill. I gotta say yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say yes. And they know as soon as they get around the corner, the two of us are gonna fight. And I got nothing against this dude. Right? I've never met him. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. Yeah, I'm sure he's a really nice guy. But and I tried to run away from this guy. I'm keeping it real. I tried to run away from this guy. Like, I was running. The white boys were yelling at me, calling me all kinds of names. I was running, looking at the cameras, like, get out here, man. Because if I get in this fight, I'm day one, phase one. I got to start this program over, man. I had 16 months in.
Ooh.
I'm like, "Oh man, don't do this to me." I'm looking at the camera, right? I got in. The guy says to me, "Give me your ring. We won't have any problems." For a wedding ring. I was like, "I'm sorry, what?" He's like, "Yeah, just take off the ring." I said, "Oh yeah, that's not gonna happen."
Yeah, once you get put in that position,
run from him.
Yeah.
He got me in the neck. I was running around, and he finally landed when it got me right in the neck. And I got kind of upset about that.
I would too.
At which point I got a hold of this guy, and but I had a cop, and it was the cop that I told the story about. He used to hit me in the back of the knees when I first got there. That cop, you're allowed to call a representative, which is like an attorney, and I called him as my rep. And when he came in there, he said to the judge, "Hey man, you need to watch the film on this." He's like, "Mutual combat, whatever. You need to watch the film on this." This guy did everything he could to not get in this fight. I won it. That's not my fault. I really did try to not get in that fight. And then I got pepper sprayed and dude, handcuffed behind your back, and they lift your arms as high as they get into the air.
They cradle you. Oh yeah. When I took off on that CO, that's why I got sent to Corcoran. And as soon as I took off on that CO, I knocked him out, and then within 10 minutes, I'm in the hole, covered in gas and getting beat, and then I'm out the door to the gladiator school. So it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, Corcoran wasn't any joke. I mean, everybody talked about that being a wicked, ugly yard.
Yeah,
just being a really, really ugly place.
It was.
Yeah, you know what? It's prison sucks. There shouldn't be torture in prison. There shouldn't. It should not.
Right.
It shouldn't be. But unfortunately, we lost control of our prisons so long ago that it's going to take a wild paradigm shift in order to pull it off. Right. The only way that, they would have to completely redo the thing from the ground up. And I don't think that that's going to happen.
I believe in prison too. Don't get me wrong. There is a place where people like that, certain people need to go. And it should be, as soon as they get there, let the boys take care of it. Yeah. We'll clear out all the dirt.
Honestly, I think that this is one of those situations, honestly, people, that there isn't a way. There's not a way to kill off human nature. And as the human nature, what it does to us as convicts is you get there and you go, "You know what? Society hates me." Right. The entire world thinks we're scumbags.
Right.
There's a scumbag worse than me.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. And that's always going to be the case. They're always going to look at those guys and go, "They're not like us." Don't say they're like us. Right. That's always going to be that way, I think.
Yeah, I do too. But I mean, it's bad either way.
Yeah. This is frightening because there's a lot of truth to that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just putting that up.
Oh, okay. It's all about the money. Yeah, private prisons are different from state run. Believe that. I don't know
You know
about the
something?
feds.
Well, there's only like 2 facilities out of 127 in the feds that are state run. Well, I mean that are I'm sorry, that are
Private.
private run. But you know where it becomes a problem? Where it really becomes a problem is when you let businesses come in and say, "I want to hire 1,000, convict employees, and we're willing to pay them 60 cents an hour." Now, we'd line up and beg for that job, right?
Oh yeah.
Guys will literally kill each other for that job. But I think that's where we start getting into some gray areas that should make us a little uncomfortable. I mean, it's great to train people, but you really start getting the feeling that this is a prison labor force.
Yeah.
When they rebuilt all of those prisons, as during the Clinton years, when they built all of those new prisons and everything became a federal offense.
Yep.
Right? The drug stuff, the gun stuff, prior to that, none of that was federal offense. Those were state crimes.
Yep.
They changed all of it and they built an army full of people that can go to work, and they do. Here's a great question. What do you think of this one here, Russ?
In the state,
how do you learn the rules?
You keep your mouth shut, keep your eyes open, your ears open, and just learn. The first person that comes to talk to you is probably not the person you want to talk to, because they might just be unliked. And if somebody doesn't like that person talking to you, you automatically become part of that. If this dude is coming at him, simple as that.
Yeah. I absolutely believe wholeheartedly that the fastest thing that you can do if you want to survive is shut up. Right.
Yeah.
Get real good at shutting up and listening. Right.
Yep.
You also get real good real quick.
Oh yeah.
Keeping your eyes off of anything that belongs to anybody else. You know
Heads
what I mean?
on a swivel.
On the street, you take for granted. You see a beautiful car and you go, "Oh man, that's gorgeous," right? In prison, they would be going, "You looking at that like you own it, brother? That belongs to me. What the hell are you doing?" Right? Yeah, you really need to be careful. You
can cross that line real quick.
You can cross that line before you even know that you did it.
Yep.
You know, and most of the rules you watch somebody break. You see somebody else mess up real bad.
Oh,
you say to one of your guys, "Hey, the hell just happened to him?" You know, and they go, "Oh yeah, he keeps staring into dude's cell every time he walks by. Dude's starting to think he's shopping."
Yep. Ugh. It only takes once.
It only takes once.
It only takes once. You'll learn quick.
Oh, and I am so sorry. Thoughts and prayers for you, hon. Listen, please be careful. And please keep communicating with everybody. You know, domestic violence is one of the scariest things in the world. It really is, people. And it is, please be careful. Always be careful and watch your back, right? Have your six at all times. And hopefully you got a friend that's got your back, right? That's a really big thing.
Yep. Keep somebody on speed dial.
Yep. This is, businesses want to make money from the start. So not starting really the good with the rehabilitation project, right? The more prisoners they have, the more money they make. You guys should do a documentary. You know what would happen if we did a documentary? Yeah, I'd be really nervous to do a documentary. I really would. I think
we have to cover our faces, and
they're capable of everything. Okay, capable of everything.
Yes,
I would not put anything past them. I really wouldn't. But the way the process for Unicor works, I actually looked into it for laughs when I got out, because I had a couple of ideas that I thought were fantastic and I wanted to run them by some people. But I'll tell you something, that the way you get a business into there, do you know how you do it? You do it with lobbyists, you do it with lawyers, for real.
Yep.
There aren't people going in there with their written up proposal going, "Hey, what do you think? Should we do this or this?" No,
this is big money. It's big money.
Big.
I think
we're making the uniforms for everybody's military.
Office furniture, license plates,
plates,
clothing,
everything inside. If you're sleeping in a bunk, an inmate made that bunk. He welded the angle iron. He did all of that, right? The lockers built by
Bob Barker.
inmates. Yeah, well, in the feds, every single thing you got has to be built by inmates. Everything.
Yep.
So the only things we get that are Barker in the feds are soap and our shoes. That's pretty
Is it
much
all prison industries or
prison
or is it-
industries.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Prison
Yep.
industries is everything. So when you get your
Boots.
mattress, there's your boots, your mattress, all of it. There's a big sticker on the side that says manufactured at FCI, whatever.
Yeah.
This is important as hell. You do not have to dial full numbers anymore. This is a new thing here in the US. And this is huge, right? So everybody, you absolutely need to know that. They let inmates have blowtorches. They do. They do. They let inmates in the kitchen have knives this long. Now, they're on a cable.
Yes, they
that
are.
will not let it get any further away than you can get from that, from where you're cutting, right? They put things in place to ensure that the fellas don't cut each other. But there's got to be knives, right? There's things that you have to do. And absolutely. Now, if you're welding, trust me, you're on a level 1 yard.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
You are. They're letting you go into town in the company
outside
truck.
the
I'm
gate.
not being funny. Outside the gates. Those guys go into town all the time. They go into town. It is a very, very different thing than the time that we did. It's nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's not, and Lord Kiss Freak says 988 works in Canada as well. Good to know. Good to know.
I
I'm
didn't
not
even
sure
know
if it
that.
works in South America, but I used to have South America on my car door. Surprised you didn't know that. Prisoners used to make all of the license plates at Huntsville. Is that still true? The P Farm, right? Isn't that the P Farm?
Yeah.
To call the,
Don't they have a pig farms and cow farms out there and all that stuff?
Yep.
California makes license plates. Definitely.
Yeah. I've never been at a yard that made license plates. I've been at a yard that made furniture. I've been at a yard that made mattresses, shirts. The one that I worked at, I was cranking out blouses, military blouses. And my line, I was quality control for Air Force.
I made it to the kitchen. That was as far as I got. And then I got busted down to Porter.
I was in the kitchen. Yeah, I was in the kitchen. I had a great job in the kitchen. I had the best job in the kitchen. I really did. I was the guy that was ordering everything. But right after I found out this guy was on the take, right? Right after that, Q said to me, I got you a gig. If you come down tomorrow morning, if you're there when they pop the doors, he's going to hire you. And that was where Drew was. I was like, guess what? I'm out. Right? I'm gone. Good. Sorry about your luck. I'm going next door to get a real job. I made a lot less money. Honestly, I made a lot less money in Unicor because when I was working in the kitchen, when I was in the kitchen, the staff cafeteria, I had access to everything in the staff caf. So I was bringing home, I was putting together some really sick dinner trays and bringing them home and selling them for $3 flat. I was making a killing.
Those guys used to bring back steaks and everything.
See, we never get steaks, and there's never any of that. Even for the inmates, they don't do steak. Although I ordered some once, don't know where it went, but we certainly never saw it. I did order a bunch of it once, though.
I've seen guys come back with half of a sirloin or something like that, and I was like, "Where the f did you get that?" And he goes, "We're cooking it for the guards." So they let it go.
Mile High Hokey says Unicor is the preferred vendor for procuring furniture for federal government offices.
Of course.
Somewhere over here, I don't know where the heck it is, but I've got my Unicor ID laying around here somewhere. I had it out.
Do you really?
Day. Yeah, I still got my Unicor ID. I don't know where
that's a special ID you had to have to get through, right?
Yeah, it's got it has a U on it, and it has a green thing that transacts it. It is a separate ID to your federal prison ID, and they are absolute Nazis about it. If you do not have that thing, we had a punch clock, so you would go in the morning and you would actually run your card through there. So if you got there and said, "Hey, can you sign me in?" They were like, "No, we don't do that. Go home. You didn't get paid today." But I had an entire line. It was a little, it was nerve-wracking.
I bet.
Honestly, because everybody's got scissors, and my job was to say, guess what? This isn't good enough. You know, you got to do it a little differently than that.
Yeah, I was at Avenal. The only time I did anything, any kind of work, is I used to lay block, and so they knew that. So they had me and another guy. We went over to the women's yard at Avenal, and we had to build an outdoor urinal, bathroom for them.
Yeah,
3 or 4 toilets.
Concrete box with no top on it, right in the middle of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy, that was
people. There's no such thing as privacy, is there?
Mm-mm.
Boy, I'll tell you something. If you are even slightly, privacy, no, there's no privacy.
Nope. Yeah. All the guys walking around that.
Spoken like a true Canadian. Still mourning Gretzky leaving. What year was that? That was a few years back. Yeah, haute couture, no question. We were doing big stuff. Hold on. Speaking of which,
I got my Batman one. I got one with Batman on the front.
Lisa, you have a good night. So we were allowed crochet. That was a program of sorts. However, I had to buy all of it. Like if you didn't have money, you weren't doing this. I had to buy the patterns. I had to buy the skeins. All of that was something that you had to do out of pocket.
You'd never put something like that in someone's hands in the state. No, you couldn't do that.
Yeah, right. But we were also part of a program. So by signing up for this and buying this stuff, you're agreeing that half of what you're paying for, you're going to be giving away anyway. Right. So
yeah,
we'd be hauling, we'd be going as fast as we could to, that actually helps. That really going out there and doing this was massive. I got a lot of love for this. Honestly, believe it or not,
I could just see a couple of red ponytails coming out the back of that.
I do not still have the pattern. I do not. Sadly, I do not have the pattern. But I was cranking these things out. We were doing it for the homeless. We were that was part of what we had to do. And when I got off of federal paper, that was one of the things that they put into the document that they sent off to the feds. That was one of there was only the lifeboat. That was a big one. And what I did inside to help people, I was a lot quicker than everybody else. I really was. I was really, really quick. Do I read French? I don't know. People are always telling me to watch my French.
Yeah. I know how to use French fries.
I do not know what that says, but I'm sure that it's hacking on somebody for not liking hockey. Right? Isn't that almost a lock? I'm living for French Canadian chat, says Izzy. I do not speak a foreign language. There are many people who think the English I do is a bit of a foreign language. No,
Spanish
I never saw crocheted soap holders, and I'm using them. It is the coolest concept in history. Truthfully, it is the coolest concept in history.
No,
you have a bag that your soap goes in. It's got a drawstring on it.
Shower bag,
and use it right in there. Man, you know what a pain in the butt it was for 13 years trying to figure out how not to get all that soapy, grimy crap and destroy a bar of soap in what? 2 days?
Right? You used to put them in our little soap cases.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, and you know what I used to do? If I could get, if I was able to get paper clips, I would actually drive paper clips up through it. So the soap would sit on top of 4 points. Because if not, the bottom where it makes contact with there just rots away.
Right.
And boy, you would not believe how expensive soap was in the feds. That was one thing that was not cheap.
Really?
It really wasn't. Yeah.
They give away
Bliss and Zoe speak fluent sarcasm. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even speak English right, but I never picked up another language, sadly.
Right. I could butcher the English language in a second.
I wanted to take Spanish because that was another one of the things that they lied to me about when I was waiting to go to the feds, that they had that they were teaching. There was none of that. There was none of that. There were a couple of yards I was at where there were some Mexican guys that were cool enough to be teaching courses to guys or trying to but no, they don't do anything for you. It's actually woeful how little programming there is.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I'm just amazed that you guys still had computers. That
Yeah.
blow. I mean, I'm sure they do in the state, like in level 1, level 2 here, or in the state, you know.
Yeah.
But in feds, what level were you, 2?
No,
Or did they have levels?
Oh yeah, no, they have levels. No, I was 4. The lowest I didn't get down to a 2 until 6 months left on my sentence.
Oh, okay.
I was on 4 and 3 yards, sadly.
Yeah.
Ooh, Tracy had a 74 Spitfire. 74 should have still had chrome bumpers. Way cooler on the chrome bumpers.
I lost my daughter. My 69 Chevelle is the car that my daughter was hit in and passed. Man, I missed the car, but I wish I had my daughter, but you know, more than that.
Yeah, no question.
And
sorry for your loss. Always, you know,
thank you.
It's just it's so difficult. Truthfully, I mean that I cannot imagine.
I know. I heard you talking about doing donuts with Spanx, and I was like, yeah, I should do that with my daughter and taking her out in the car, and she'll pass right out when she was fussy. So
when we were in Nevada, it was snowing just unbelievably hard, and Spanky came and got me and all of his cousins, and he had rounded them all up, and he's like, "Can we go outside and slide around in the snow?" I'm like, as long as we don't tell their parents what we're doing, we can probably do this. But Spanky had such a chance to be cool because none of his cousins had ever seen that, and he felt pretty confident that their dads weren't that much of juvenile delinquents. But we went out in the snowstorm and had a good time with it. I love driving in the snow. It's
it was. We never saw it unless we went to Big Bear, in California.
Big Bear's great. I've been there.
How many times?
A lot.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've been there a lot too.
Yeah.
My girlfriend at the time had her dad owned a cabin up there, so we would go up there.
It's somewhat amazing to me, just how much that there's empathy and sympathy in people that understand, right? No matter how hard, there's usually somebody that can understand and is in, like you said, a club that you'd rather not be a part of, but there is something to knowing that you're not alone that is really powerful in everything that has to do with trauma, in my humble opinion. And Jennifer is right. Drifting in snow is the greatest thing in the world. It's
awesome.
Yeah. I used to like getting a front wheel drive car, and I would just lock the e-brake as soon as you get in it, a snowstorm, just lock the back wheels, straight lock them up. And then you just swing like this, like the back wheels are just skates. That's what I used to do with Spanky. And I would get him laughing so hard that I would actually have to get concerned. You know what I mean? He would lose oxygen and get mad at me. He would be like,
I could see that.
Yes, is the answer to your question. Yes, they did. I hated that more than anything in the world. So I tried to always get in and get a hustle, get away so that I could be self-sufficient.
Right.
That's because
I never asked my mom for money, I never did. But she would send me $150 on Christmas and, packages. She would send me packages, clothes and shoes. And back then you could send cartons of cigarettes. I didn't drink coffee, so she would send me 6 jars of Folgers, the instant coffee. And I would just tuck it under my bunk and just save it for them dead weeks.
Those are crystals. That's the big money. That for real. That ain't Keefy. That's big pimping.
Yep.
You're drinking the crystals, man. That's big pimping.
Yeah, I used to have about 15 or 20 at all times. Jars of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got raided in the state, and me and Jeffrey Canali, the guy that you see that comes into the guy that hurt my elbow, he and I were running a sports book together, and there was only one on the entire yard. We were the only sports book. I swear to you, man. I mean, we had. I remember weekends. Yeah, we were doing 10 grand in bets on a weekend. So I mean, you get cracked, you're in deep doo doo, you know.
Right.
But we were running one together on the yard, and when they came in and they were coming into toss cells, I had 38 bags of 4 Aces tobacco in my cell. And the guy said to me, he goes, "What are we doing, dude? What are you dealing drugs?" He's like, seriously,
how do all you new tattoos?
Yeah, I said, no, man. I said, I run the sports book. Like, I just told him straight out. I'm like, I run the sports book. He's like, I didn't find any tickets. I'm like, because I didn't want you to find any tickets. He's like, for real? I said, yeah, for real. And then he asked me something. He was like, what's the line on the Pittsburgh game or something like that? I was like, I think it's Pittsburgh -7. The dude didn't take any of the tobacco, didn't write me up, nothing. Just took
that. Was cool.
Yeah.
That was real cool.
Doesn't happen very often.
No.
In fact, about 4 days later, a guy came in, a cop, and was searching, and he picked up a can of chewing tobacco. We were allowed to chew back then. And it had $1 stamps in it, like this, all the way around. And he went to do this one. And he was like, opened it up. I was like, oh, boss, put that back down, man. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of those in there.
He took the stamps?
He took the stamps and put me in the shoe. Investigation, all that.
God.
Yeah, 3 weeks, 21 days.
For having too many stamps. Thinking.
Well, it was thousands of dollars, but yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was thousands of dollars. It was a lot of money. But you know what? When you're doing a sports book, it's not like you can go out and spend it, because the next weekend you could get cracked.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
It's just awful. We'd be sweating them in. And the guys from Prison Industries, the guys that built everything, was the unit across the way. I heard them yell an F-bomb, honestly, top of their lungs. It was down to one game, and Jeffrey comes into my cell and he goes, "Hey, bro, we're screwed. I had just come back from a class." I'm like, "How bad?" And he's like, "Well, it's going to take every penny we got, and we're probably going to need to get some money from the street, start doing some street-to-street stuff." I'm like, "Damn, dude." I'm like, "How did we lose?" And he goes, "Well, we haven't lost yet, right? But it was down to the end." And he goes, "All they need is a field goal. They don't have to go for it. One field goal, we're screwed." And they pulled it. This dude, 25-yard field goal, and he just straight pulls it. And you can hear the boys across, like shaking the building. I was like, "Oh, that's going to leave a mark."
That's funny.
Yeah.
That saved you, though.
Did you gamble when you were in?
Me?
Yeah.
Pinochle. That was it.
Oh,
I didn't.
Boy, that's the most dangerous gambling in prison. Right there.
I love that. We get some going on that, it'd be over. Pinochle tournaments and
see some ugly fighting.
Yeah, I've seen come up and sticks right through the neck.
Yeah. I saw more fights over that than I saw over poker.
Sending signals and all that.
And usually dudes like partners beating the crap out of each other. You know what I mean? Guys that, boy, if you bid wrong, like they take that stuff pretty damn seriously.
Oh yeah. I mean, one guy would just think everybody was cheating because every time you sneezed or blinked or grabbed your hair or whatever, you're sending a signal. Yeah. And it wasn't like that.
No, and they start getting paranoid and people start getting weird. We had a guy that marked a deck of cards, right? Had a marked deck, and it was done, slick. This dude was an islander. So kind of a weird situation, because he was playing at my table and he showed up fresh, break the seal on it. He did a good job. But like the second time he came to my table, he did it again. And the first time he won a lot of money. But the second time he was there, like he had been partying, he'd been getting high or whatever. And he was doing this one. Like he was concentrating so hard on cards. I was like, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I was like, tell you what, let's swap out this deck. Right. So let's get some new luck. And I took the deck off to my cell. By the time I came out of that cell, he was gone.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, that dude rolled the hell up. When I walked off with it, he was like, he got up, made a beeline. They peeled him for all of his stuff, but you got serious stones to cheat at a poker
In
game
prison.
in prison.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. You don't see that much.
No, I saw a guy rob a poker table.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah,
This
you told
dude
me about
came
that.
up
Yeah.
with a blade and robbed the poker table. You can't get out of the room. I mean, just like
Yeah.
under dope fiend move in the dictionary, they actually have a picture of this dude. I mean, you know that all this is going to do is get you a fix and then it's over, right?
Yeah.
And you may not even have time to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just sitting there looking at him like, there's no way you're robbing a poker table, right? Big old bone crusher.
Really?
Yeah.
With all
Came
four
up,
people?
robbed the table. There was probably 7 of us there.
Oh my God.
It was a full-on poker table in the middle of a game. Big old pile. He's grabbing flat books, taking out. I was like, all of us just looking at him like, you have got to be kidding. You have got to
Wow.
be kidding.
No, but I mean, you wouldn't make it away from the table if you're.
They let him get up to the cell. If he had been white, I probably would have jumped on him. But it was a 4-yard. There wasn't no way in hell I was hitting a different color race, man. Like, yeah, that gets really ugly really quick.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, 50 cents. A lot of people have died over 50 cents on a pool table. Make no mistake. A lot
I've seen
people.
I've seen guys killed over $1 bag of coffee. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a book of stamps.
Book of stamps. I mean, I promise you, there will be more deaths in the feds this year. There will be more people that get stabbed over one book of stamps, right? Which on the yard, $5, $5 on the low end. If that's a yard book, $5. If it's a flat, it's going to be $8. But they'll kill a dude for that. Because it's the principle of the thing, right? So did you guys play double deck, Pinochle?
Oh yeah.
So double deck.
Yeah. I never played it single. I never even heard of it the single. I mean, well, I have, but we didn't play with 9s. We played with, all the way through 10. But yeah, we played double deck.
Double deck.
You can't play Pinochle without playing double. It's so awesome. It's like spades on steroids.
Ray, it's always the principle. It is always the principle. That is respect in prison. It's hard to even explain. I mean, honestly, it's one of the hardest things to explain about being on the other side. The way that guys expect to be treated, right? Even your enemies. In fact, you watch 2 enemies, you would think they liked each other. I promise you. When they pass each other, whatever, there's a whole lot of respect given out. And the higher the custody level, the more respect you see. The lower the custody level, the more you hear people saying really stupid stuff and guys doing stupid things. Calhoun says, I used to hate spades. I'm not a fan of that game either, man. And all of that noise doing with that snap. I just kill people, dude.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Now, the other races did it. I mean, they were jumping on the table, screaming, doing that. But you put that blanket down.
Dominoes.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I used to wake up to that in the morning.
Slamming bones. Yeah. That gets a lot of people really, really unhappy.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
That's another thing that people get killed over all the time. Making loud noises, throwing cards down. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Lori, I don't mind the game itself, right? It's just that it was always turning into fights. Always. And it was more of an issue between the races than anything else. It was so bad at Victorville that we just like both shot callers got together and said, nope, it ain't ever going to happen again. We're not playing it. Not while they had the yard, because it always ends up in it. It is a very, and I'm not being, it is a cultural thing. Honestly, like how hard you can snap it, like how you throw it down, they're into it. There's a style to it and everything else. I'm not mad at them.
I can do it.
But it gets loud.
Yes,
and
it does.
They play around the clock, right? It's one of those games that when the doors are open, the fellas are playing spades. And that snapping, boy, oh boy.
Yep. That's a weekend thing. That's what we do, but it passes time. You're off on the weekend. You don't have anything to do. You're not lifting because it's, a relaxing day. That's it. Cribbage was big too. Cribbage was really big.
That's what I played. The reason I put this up there is because that is the card game, like for fun. My poker table, I wasn't doing that for fun at all. I was doing that to fill my locker, you know.
Correct.
But I played cribbage for giggles and had a really good time with it. You want to hear something? Great piece of advice, just in case you ever end up in the joint, people. If you take apart a AA battery, right? You take apart a AA battery, and inside of it, there's a nail, right? It's just a nail, is all it is. And it's about that long. And you take those nails and you get 4 of them, right? And then you take a shower shoe, turn it over. And that's how we would make our cribbage boards, right?
Yeah.
That was always first thing you get to the hole. Find me 4 dead batteries. Right? Let's make a cribbage board.
Pieces out of toilet paper.
Yep. I've made many chess pieces out of toilet paper. I'll tell you another one that's good. You ever play Battleship on the wall of your cell?
Not on the wall, but we've made up boards. Yeah. I played chess with my neighbor, you know, in the hole. Yep. We'd have just enough room to get our arm through, you know, because it was all perforated. So we would play chess that way, or we'd talk it through.
Yeah.
I never played cribbage, but that's a big game in there too. Tonk.
Yeah. Yep. Tonk. That was another game that they didn't allow. Tonk was for. I've never played Tonk, but that game was forbidden. Yeah, they would not allow Tonk either. Is it a loud game?
I don't know. I mean, I never. Tonk was really big, but I never got around anybody that was playing it.
I know. Yeah,
so
I never did it.
Everybody wanted to play pinochle. I think a lot of others played Tonk. You know?
Yeah. Cribbage, hearts, contract, rummy, and canasta, and mahjong. I have the greatest mahjong set you've ever seen. It's like it's never been used, and it's over 100 years old. I ended up getting it in a watch deal. The coolest thing ever. But I don't know how to play. I've never actually played mahjong, but I know a lot of people are really, really good at it. All hood games.
Yeah.
Did you guys play any Farkle? Are you playing with me, or is that really a game? You ever heard of a game called Farkle?
Nope, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, these do sound like hood games, right? Coyotes are out there. They're doing their thing. Coyotes are doing their thing.
You hear them out there?
Yeah. So dude, they're just starting to. They're really starting to crank it up. Russ is very loud.
I am.
You better settle the hell down, Russ.
I know.
I hadn't noticed. Miss Dragon says, I love Farkle. Now I really feel like I'm getting played with, because I think Miss Dragon, like the way she has the three smiles, I think I'm getting played with. By the way, dice. How many sets of dice have you made?
Oh man,
dice is not allowed. Dice is not allowed in the joint. Like they don't allow the feds.
God, we play 10,000 all the time.
10,000.
Every time we were in the hole, we played 10,000. All that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. I have made a lot of dice. I have made a whole lot of dice, and I'm pretty damn good at it, actually.
Make it out of soap.
Soap too. Yep. Toilet paper and soap as the combo. Like when I say toilet paper, I soap up everything because it dries harder. Yeah. And then when you get it so that you know every side is the exact same, you hit it with the table syrup, the maple syrup crap that isn't.
One had to show up.
Well, I got one too.
Yeah.
This one does not leave. She's in loaf mode from where you left her earlier.
This is my little girl. Looks just like my other one.
You gotta love a kitty. They're the greatest animals in the world. Dice were a big thing because people they start playing craps and it gets ugly.
They put you in the hole.
People.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They put you in the hole. You don't have anything but to do. But
you got time on your hands. You don't have anything to do. The games you'll get really, really creative with the things that you do for laughs, to be sure. Matching kitties. Are you surprised, V? Like we would fire this puppy up without having You know, not one, but two kitties. Never a doubt. Russ, we've run this. This is about as long as I've done a show. Honestly.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
with
never
exception
seen you
of
do
one
a
of the really
show.
big ones.
This
Usually
is
don't do
cool.
them this long, but this was fun. I appreciate you coming
Yeah.
on. Calhoun, pull your
Thanks.
face over here, man. Where are you? He's can you see him or can I only see him? He's
I
wearing a
can
really
see him.
cool hat. No, you can't. Okay.
Good looking boy.
Calhoun. Yeah, he is. Isn't
Oh,
he?
hello.
He doesn't
I
take
thought
after
we were-
you that in that area.
No,
I
got
thought we
lucky.
were playing a hat game, so I put my hat on.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. No, if we're doing hat games, I'm not afraid. Check this out.
Yeah.
I like.
Beat myself to death with these little things.
You know, that's
but,
what those are for, right?
Mhm.
Absolutely. I put them there.
It reminds
of
him
course
of
I know what they're for.
Thanks. It
Of course I know
reminds
what
him
they're for, man.
of when he was in prison. Don't let him lie to you.
I built these things, man. I built these.
He likes those things hitting him in the face.
It was,
Yeah, he
hey,
does,
it was only a hustle, dude. It was only a hustle. Don't
Hey, it's
judge
all
me.
good. You quit 2 weeks before you got out.
At the gate. Yeah, it's quit at the gate, dog. Just trying to make a living.
Hey,
You
it
know the
doesn't
drill.
count if you quit 2 weeks before you get out, right?
Right.
That's it. It doesn't count if you don't like it. You know the drill.
Right.
Okay? If you don't like it, it doesn't count.
Smile. Let me see your stretch marks. There you go.
Yeah, Tommy and his toque. See, gotta be a Canadian. I love the Canadians and the toque references. Wow, Miley's Keepers had the math 5 times. That just doesn't seem right. Already, people, I'm going to go deal with Johnny Scoville, who more than likely is probably eating something really hot. I'm not even being
Probably.
funny. That's what the
Probably.
man does, man.
Yeah.
That's what the man does. Already, thank you, Russ. Thank you, everybody, for popping in, and I will see all of you
On the next one.
On the next one. Yeah. Thank you all for the support and for hanging out as long as you did. God bless
Yep.
you all. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What I didn't